Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lynette Wetherington, and today I will be giving you a presentation on a study by Sarno and others. The presentation is on escape to attention as a potential variable for maintaining problem behavior in the school setting. This study supports that behavior can be under control by multiple antecedents and reinforced by multiple variables. The study seeks to explore escape to attention conditions and escape to attention treatment. Some relevant research from previous studies includes Mueller on escape to attention conditions. He conducted the first pilot study for that. And then Gresham and Hoff further support that there are possibly multiple reinforcers involved and combined treatment. Therefore, combined treatment could be an option. The purpose of this study is to replicate Mueller's pilot ETA study. He had one participant, and some of the limitations were that it lacked IOA and treatment data. So this current study seeks to extend Mueller's study, further exploring the escape-only treatment in comparison to the ETA treatment. The participants of this study were three elementary school-aged boys. They attended a public school in a general classroom. They were referred to this study due to their problem behaviors in class. And as you can see, Brandon Franklin and Jane Marcus are not diagnosed with ASD or any other developmental disability. The setting for the study was within the participants' natural environment, their classrooms, and during standard activity time. So the teachers just suggested when their problem behaviors were most frequent, and that's when they conducted the phases of the study. Some additional assessments here, the FAIR-T and the IRP 15 were additional assessments for the teachers. The FAIR-T actually helped derive the hypothesis for the function of the problem behavior. Furthermore, asked the teachers what the problem behaviors looked like, what happened before and after, just to gather more information. So these were the problem behaviors, and task engagement was another behavior that was measured in the study. These are the steps within the study. First, they had the initial FA, then a follow-up FA, and then the treatment. The initial FA consisted of 3 conditions: escape, attention, and control play. And then, as you can see, all the conditions were 10 minutes long. There were 2-minute breaks in between, 2 to 4 sessions per day. And all of the assessments and treatments were implemented by the participants' teachers. The last several bullet points are actually consistent throughout the entire study within all of the steps and phases. The control play condition is just free access with no demands or any consequences. The attention condition is the participant was engaged in an item or activity, no attention was given. If they were not engaged in an item or activity, the teacher would provide attention to redirect them to select something. This is the escape condition. Work was presented, problem behavior occurred. Escape was in the form of removing the task, and then there was a 30-second break with no attention before a new task was given. So the second phase of the study is the modified FA, or the follow-up FA. So the control and attention conditions were removed, escape condition remained, and then the ETA condition was added. The ETA condition was identical to the escape condition, with the exception of the 30-minute break. Verbal attention was given. The last phase of the study is the treatment evaluations. So the first treatment condition was escape extinction. That's for escape only. And then The second treatment condition was escape, extinction, plus differential reinforcement of alternative behaviors. That was for escape and attention. As you can see, Brandon has a slightly different experimental design than Franklin and J. Marcus. The EE treatment condition is identical to the escape condition from the previous FAs, only there was no break. And then the EE and DRA condition is identical to the EE condition, with the exception that attention was given respectively to each of the participants. This is the IOA data that Mueller's initial pilot study lacked. And as you can see, there are high percentages across the table. So these are the results of the initial FA. I first have this in a table for you. This is the percentage of intervals for problem behaviors for the initial FA. As you can clearly see, escape has the higher percentage of problem behaviors. This is Brandon's chart graph. The X and Y axis are consistent throughout the entire presentation. So the X axis is the sessions and the Y axis is the percentage of intervals. The legend is also consistent for the rest of the presentation. The solid circles is the control condition, the solid triangles are escape condition, and the solid squares are the intention conditions. As you can see with Brandon's, and you will see with the other two participants as well, the attention and control conditions have little to no problem behaviors, whereas the escape conditions, you can clearly see that there were moderate levels of problem behaviors. So again, you can see the escape has presented the most problem behaviors. In the modified FA, this is the data collected. Again, I put it in a table for you to clearly see first and compare the percentages. As you can see in the ETA condition, the problem behavior is slightly much higher. This suggests that escape to attention reinforces problem behaviors more than escape only condition. So again, the X and Y axis remain the same. The legend is only different in that the escape to attention condition is added, which is a hollow triangle. As you can see for Brandon, the trend for the escape to attention kind of increases, decreases, and then increases again. And the escape condition starts out high and then slightly decreases. But it is different in Franklin and J. Marcus's charts. You can see that the escape to attention conditions were displayed much higher problem behavior percentages, more than in the escape conditions. You can see in J. Marcus's as well, a higher problem behavior in the escape to attention conditions, whereas in comparison it's moderate in the escape only condition. This suggests that escape to attention conditions are more reinforcing than escape alone conditions. And then these are the results for the treatment evaluations. This is the table for Brandon, the percentage of intervals with problem behavior and task engagement. So again, as I mentioned before, Brandon has a slightly different experimental design than the other two participants. He actually starts out with, he has 4 phases, and he starts out with the escape extinction condition. And you can see here on the table that the problem behavior percentage is higher than the task engagement. And this suggests that it's probably due to an extinction burst. because then throughout the rest of the conditions and the rest of the phases of the treatment, the problem behavior is much, much lower and the task engagement is much higher. So Franklin starts out with the EE plus DRA treatment. His problem behavior is initially very, very low. And then when he reaches the EE condition, it kind of rises again and then goes back down almost half of the percentage in the EE plus DRA after. For J. Marcus, it starts out with a low percentage in the initial phase and then increases in the EE phase and then dramatically decreases in the following phase. So this is the table in chart form. The hollow circles are engagement, and then the solid squares are the problem behaviors. So as you can see with Brandon, there's a high increase in the problem behavior. This could be, again, due to an extinction burst. And then from that phase forward, you can see that the task engagement increases, and then the problem behavior decreases. Since Franklin and J. Marcus start out with the EE plus DRA conditions, you can already see the task engagement increase and the problem behavior decrease. But when they both reach the EE phase, you can see kind of increase, decrease, no stable trend. And then when it goes back to the EE plus DRA treatment condition, it goes back to increased task engagement and decreased problem behavior, similar to Franklin's. This suggests the results of the treatment phase suggests that the EE plus DRA treatment is more effective than treatment for escape alone. So again, the purpose of this study was to replicate Mueller's study, which the current study did, and they also included IOA and treatment data, and then to also extend Mueller's study with further exploring escape-only treatment in comparison to ETA treatment, which they have successfully displayed. The results of the study supports problem behavior has definitely increased in the ETA condition. So more so than just with escape alone. So with escape following attention, increased problem behaviors. As far as EE plus DRA treatment, it not only decreased problem behaviors, but also increased task engagement. Some of the strengths of the study is that this research can be put into practice. It was conducted in a natural school setting with general education students, and it was implemented by the teachers themselves. Some of the study's limitations were assessing the long-term effects of EE and DRA treatment. This could also be a further suggestion for future research to further explore those long-term effects, probably with a follow-up FA a few months later. And then also to determine the mechanisms of behavior change. There were many variables involved, and for further research could probably help determine whether behavior change was due to access to tangibles, escape from aversive task, which mechanism came into play and when and where. Additionally, future studies can further explore other ETA-based treatment options and attention escape treatment options. And these are the references to the study. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you for your time.